For the love of money is the root of all evil. And I'm assuming I'm quoting it right. This is from the New Testament of the Bible, for where it's usually mistaken as money is the root of all evil, but it's for the love of money is the root of evil or the root of all evil. And yeah, so getting into it, I kind of want to talk about money. I was about to go to bed. It's like 10:37, usually by the time I go to sleep, but this was something that was kind of weighing heavy on my mind, right? Money, 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 money. It's such a big thing in our lives, in modern day. We have such a focus on money and how much we make and how much we want to make or how much we're not making or what we do have and don't have. So much so that it causes so much stress and anguish and pain in the day-to-day lives of people, right? Even people who have great access to wealth, fame, and fortune also are worried so much about money, right? It's just crazy how it has us in this like wrap and its hold, right? And when you look at money and its purpose and its uses, it's a resource. It's really a resource, right? But it's not the same, I guess. And I feel like it's not as genuine as the internal resources that we can accumulate, right? Such as having some sort of knowledge or ability to do something, right? Better than others, right? Having some type of skill or, ability. And those things are cast aside depending on what's in your pocket, right? They'll consider what's in your pocket more than what you can actually provide, right? And it's kind of like money is the middleman for that, right? Let's say I'm a contractor, I'm some type of architect or construction worker, whatever, right? And I want to have food, right? So maybe the way it would have worked back in the day, I would have went to the farmer or some type of cattle person, whatever, right? And I would have said like, hey, I'll build you a nice farmhouse, or I'll refix your nice farmhouse, or I'll fix your leaky roof or something. In exchange, you give me a goat, or in exchange, you give me this portion of your crop, right? And things like that. And then now you can go and you can feed yourself and your family or other loved ones, right? Or whatever the reason, right? But now it's different, right? It's like I do work for some arbitrary thing, right? Not for the reason why I'm doing work. I'm working on a construction for Microsoft or something like that, right? Let's say that. And I get money and I use that money to buy food, right? At the grocery store, where things are conventionally grown, right? Not conventionally, I can't say conventionally grown. Um, yeah, it's like, and then the thing is like, I don't know if I said this before, but money is a man-made thing. It's not something that was inherently here with us on Earth, right? We didn't come born into this world, or as early humans, we didn't come into this world trying to accumulate some type of numeric value of something and to withhold that and to be able to exchange that value for basically every need that we have, right? Because without money, especially in the Western world or just developed society, you can't really live, I guess, comfortably per se, right? And I guess it all depends on your level of comfort, right? Like, are you okay with sleeping outside? Are you okay with not having any type of air conditioning or warmth, right? Are you okay with not having access to the best quality of food? Are you okay with not being able to clean yourself reliably, right? Are you okay with wearing the same clothes day to day? Things like this, right? So it's like, to be able to live in a life or a lifestyle that is considered normal, you have to maintain a certain amount of wealth in order to live, to literally live, to eat, to drink, to have shelter over your head, to have clothes on your back and stuff like that, to have shoes on your feet, right? You have to be able to maintain a job. And sometimes these jobs that we work, we're literally working just to make ends meet, we don't have jobs that actually allow us to, I guess, realize our true selves, right? We just have a job that's just kind of there to give us what we need, right? Not to fulfill us, not to give us like to give us what we need on the physical material world, right? Not to give us what we need when it comes to like internal spiritual, right? People aren't gonna work their Amazon job and then become spiritually enlightened because of their check, that they get from week to week, right? That's not how it works for most people, I would assume. Um, and then it's just like thinking of how people can become so money minded, depending on the environment that they grew up in, right? Like, let's say they never really had things, they grew up poor. Um, it was hard for their parents to provide, and then when they make it or when they make enough money, they kind of like want to prove to everybody that like, hey, look at me, look at where I am. I'm doing this, I'm making this, right? And you see that a lot within like famous people, right? Like ball players, rappers, stuff like that. Some entertainers, right? They when they make it, they go hard, and they just like become super flashy, right? It's like the moment they accumulate wealth, they kind of forget where they can come from. Some people forget where they come from, right? But there's some people who are, this is a very small minority of people who have went through poverty, or I guess you could say suffered through poverty. When they do make it, they are very humble. They are very, let's say they're minimalists, right? They only get what they need, right? They might like, indulge in some things here and there, but they're not over here buying $1 million beach houses. They're not over here throwing parties every night, every other night. They're not over here replacing their teeth with like diamond grills or whatever the case may be, whatever some people do. And I feel like I don't even know, because it's just so interesting how much like money can change someone's personality, right? Or just shape someone's view of life, their whole philosophy about life, purely based off of some type of numeric wealth, right? Some people's self-worth, some people some people derive their self-worth from the amount that they have in terms of like this paper resource that was created, that is made, that is literally manufactured and made up, right? It's practically imagined, right? It's not real. It's not something that is real, right? The ability to build someone a house is real. The ability to be able to receive food from that is real, right? But like it's so crazy how it's replaced so many, I guess, other faculties that we've developed over millennia, per se, when it comes to the just the human race, right? As a man, right, you would want to provide for your family. You want to be able to provide resources to your family or to your loved ones, if you don't have like a wife and kids, and you want to be able to make sure that they're well fed, well clothed, stuff like that, they're well situated. And how do you do that now? At least you need money, right? You can't just like take your son and go out with your son and I don't know, go find some field or something where there's like a bunch of fruit trees or whatever, or go fishing and then now you're able to eat, right? You can't even really build, like some people just go and build their own houses. They build their own houses. Like they used to do that, bro. They used to do that. Build their own houses from like wood that they would chop down, from tools that they would make. And with how much money would that cost? Like none at all, right? But we got water bill, light bill, phone bill, car, gas, all this stuff. And it's kind of just like, it's silly. It's silly when you think about it. It's silly, but it's also serious, but it's also very silly because it's like, how did we get to where we were before and then now, right? And I'm not saying like we should go back to living without Wi-Fi and no Netflix and just living in the wild, cutting down trees, making our own cabins. I mean, that's not a bad way to live, but to go 100% back to the way we were before, I'm not saying that there's no improvements in modern day but it's just like I feel like there's just so much more pain now because of this, monetary thing, right? This book, Napoleon Hill, by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I read the book all the way through, and I should probably give it a read again. And I appreciate this book. The book, as you might be thinking, like I might have a negative view of money. Yes, I do, but I know it's necessary, and I'm not looking at it as a bad thing because when I attain money, that's a good thing for me. I don't scoff at my bank account when I get paid. I don't be like disgusted. Ew, get away from me. When I get paid, right? I get paid. I try to save my money, and I use that money to feed myself, right? To be able to pay bills and stuff like that. But this book here, Think and Grow Rich, the way he speaks of money, he's not speaking of it as like you must get as rich as possible. Here's a 10-step plan to accumulate wealth and riches. It's very kind of like, I guess, figure it out on your own, right? It's kind of like, the book already opens up with there's a message inside the book, and you might get it on the first chapter, or you might get it on your second read or third read of the book, right? So it's kind of like, are you conscious and enlightened enough to accept the truth that holds in this book, right? And are you able to be honest with yourself and your own skills? He talks a lot about building skills. He talks a lot about building courage, and just showing a lot of very successful examples of people who have succeeded in this world and have made fortunes from little to nothing, right? Little to nothing. And just having the resources, their internal resources, in order to create wealth, basically, not make wealth, create wealth, is just something that is amazing, right? And I want to be able to do something like that for myself, right? But it's like I'm also thinking I don't want to get so like grossly rich, right? But it's like it's kind of like the same when people say, oh, I don't want to, work out too much. I don't want to get too bulky. When you're not gonna get bulky unless you're like, having steroids and stuff like that, right? So it's kind of like you won't accumulate too much wealth. I feel like too much, quote unquote, right? Whatever you think is too much, unless you are doing things that put others down, right? You are doing things that are at the disadvantage of others. You are crossing over people. You are betraying people. You are doing all these things to accumulate wealth, right? People will, just to attain money, they will throw away family and friends. They will throw away their own morals and goals and faith. They will even disregard their own health in order to make money, or even make ends meet. Some people will cancel doctor appointments. Some people will waive off certain ailments or sicknesses they have, and just say, I'll feel better in the morning, because they have to stay on that grind. They have to make enough to just barely live, right? And that's just such an unfortunate thing for people to get caught up in the rat race for practically their entire lives, and seeming somehow in this state of amazing technology and information that we have out there, somehow a lot of us stay in these cycles, even from generation to generation. Yeah, I feel like maybe my generation, Gen Z, is maybe a bit more awakened, a bit more aware, but at the end of the day, I feel like not a lot of us are awake enough to be able to see the truth, hear the truth, but not live the truth. Maybe, I don't know if that makes sense, right? Because so many people will know what's right and know what to do, but they don't. Many times you might think, I should stop eating this, I should go work out, I should go say what's up to this friend, I should go check on my mother or something like that, but you don't, because it's easier to not face things that are challenging, right? And trying to live the truth, trying to live what's true, trying to stay true to yourself, trying to be more conscious and aware is hard. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. So it's easier to stay a slave. It's easier to forego your liberation in order to stick to comfort and you know, just stay in a loop, in a circle, right? It's easier to be obedient than to be an individual. So in many cases, people will take that over everything else. They'll take that over their freedom. So it's just like, even money, right? You know, we're all, like, all of us are slaves to money. All of us are just stuck, you know, unless some people do, you know, move to India or move to some Asian country or something like that, and they'll live as like some type of nomad, or some people do van life and they'll do some contracting work and they'll just go across America living from dime to dime. You know, some people, a lot of people can be happy like that, you know, but not many of us are daring to live that type of life. I'm not even daring to live that type of life, right? At least maybe not now, you know, maybe not now at this time. But I don't know, money, man. Money, 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 money. It's like, you know, when you don't have it, you just want to have as much as you want or as much as you need to get by. And when you have a lot of it, you need more. And when you need more, you need to do more things in order to get more, even if it's immoral. And sometimes it's like we throw away everything just for it. But yeah, that's about all I gotta say. Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever. If you know, whatever, whenever you're watching this video. All right, peace out.